I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of, sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
Oh. So most people say she's clearly talking about candidate Tulsi Gabbard, and some other candidates are defending Tulsi getting called out.
So I want to ask you about something that's in the news a lot right now. You've been really prolific over the past few years being the head of the Intel Committee, and you defended, promoted, you even read into the congressional record the Steele dossier. And we know last week the main source of the dossier was indicted by the FBI for lying about most of the key claims in that dossier. Do you have any reflections on your role in promoting this to the American people?
Well, first of all, whoever lied to the FBI or lied to Christopher Steele should be prosecuted, and they are. And unlike in the Trump administration, if they're convicted, they should go to jail, not be pardoned. So Donald Trump pardoned Roger Stone for lying. He pardoned Michael Flynn for lying. If people lied to the FBI, they should go to jail. But at the beginning of the Russia investigation, I said that any allegations should be investigated. We couldn't have known, for example, people were lying to Christopher Steele. So it was proper to investigate them. And let's not forget what we learned in that investigation. We learned that the Trump campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, was giving internal polling data, campaign polling data, to Russian intelligence while Russian intelligence was helping the Trump campaign.
And to be clear, he was fired halfway through the campaign.
Well, he may have been fired,
yeah.
But the effort to get Russian help continued, and even beyond the effort to get Russian help,
but you made help spread Russian disinformation yourself for years by promoting this. I think that's what Republicans and what people who entrusted you as the Intel Committee chair are so confused about your culpability in all of this.
Well, I completely disagree with your premise. It's one thing to say allegations should be investigated, and they were. It's another to say that we should have foreseen in advance that some people were lying to Christopher Steele, which is impossible, of course, to do. But let's not use that as a smokescreen to somehow shield Donald Trump's culpability for inviting Russia to help him in the election, which they did, for trying to coerce Ukraine into helping him in the next election, which he did, into inciting an insurrection, which he did. None of that is undercut. None of that serious misconduct is in any way diminished by the fact that people lied to Christopher Steele.
No, I think just your credibility is.
I can't honestly barely stand to even look at this guy anymore. And it's amazing to me, man, that anyone still takes anything he says or anything he does even at all seriously. I mean, the fact that the guy's got any credibility left blows my mind. And he's running for Senate. He's trying to get a promotion. And guys, he's probably going to win. He's probably going to get that promotion, which really will finally prove to anyone who's still keeping score. This has got to prove to you, if Adam Schiff becomes the next senator from California, California's fully lost. It is completely gone. We already pretty much know it's gone, but there'll be no coming back from that. Anyway, the only reason I'm even talking about this clown is because Donald Trump just hilariously and savagely, completely roasted this dude. And I thought you guys had to see it. But first, guys, please be a part of the channel's growth. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share. This is going to be a very, very important year to get our voices heard. And guys, every time you do one of those things, we get to expose more and more people to the truth. So here's where we're at. I think a lot of people have forgotten. Donald Trump is actually a pretty funny guy. Owner of at least 2 of the top 3 real good zingers in presidential debate history. And I mean, just take a look at this. The guy's having just a little bit of fun at the expense of probably the most honorable and patriotic congressman in the history of the United States.
The stage, because they are the most dishonest people on earth, other than guys like Adam Schiff and Shifty Pencil Neck. He's a marvel. No, he's a structural marvel. He has a neck, and his head is like a watermelon, and his neck. And how that neck can hold up that big, oversized, ugly head is hard to believe. No, it's true. It's true. The big head. It's like your finger on a basketball. Some of these guys, they spin it. No, he's a terrible guy. Think of it. Think of this, Schiff. So they make up the Russia hoax. And by this time it was found out, and blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows it's a hoax, a scam. And, it was originally used as a one-day deal to show that Hillary Clinton lost because of Russia, because they were embarrassed, because they weren't supposed to lose, but they lost. And so they made up this that it was Russia. I said, Russia? What the hell did Russia have to do with it? And I meant that. So then it got carried away. It ended up being 2.5 years because it got picked up by the fake news. They knew it was a scam. Got picked up by but think of it, Adam Schiff made it up, along with Hillary Clinton and some others, DNC, Democrats, and they made up this scam. Dangerous scam, very dangerous. Amazing that, fortunately I knew Putin very well, and we had a little bit of a relationship going. He couldn't believe, he said, what the hell is going on with your country? They make up this scam, and then he comes out of a room, so he knows it's made up, and he has a news conference with a lot of press, and I'm watching this, and he goes, Donald Trump Jr. will go to prison because of what he did with Russia. Now, talking about my son is going to go to prison because of something they know is a total hoax. It's not like they believed it was maybe true. They knew it was because they made it up. It was a scam. It was written. No, think of it. And he's saying, think of it, you have a son. And I called up my son. I said, are you okay? He says, yeah, I don't know anything about Russia. What's going on? He knew nothing about Russia. This guy in the fourth row right here, he knows more about Russia than my son knew. But think how bad you have to be as a person to do that. So he's got a scam. They know it's a scam. It's a made-up story to try and justify why she lost, okay? She lost because she had no personality. She lost for a lot of reasons. No, they said she's, well, that too, I would say this. She's evil. That's interesting. But what kind of a human being would say we're going to put somebody in prison because of something that we made up that we know is a phony thing? Bad people, right, Steve? Bad people,
Yeah, so just a little bit of fun. And I'm sure that I've driven the liberals on the channel completely crazy, completely apoplectic with this. You probably don't think it's funny at all, which was probably, honestly, the only reason I'm even making this video. But on top of the troll factor, the guy has got a great point. The Russia thing, pretty amazing when you really look at the timeline, when you really look at the technique that all came together to make that happen. He's absolutely right. That was never, ever intended to become a very serious thing. That was never intended to blow up into all these investigations, was never intended to turn into a scandal. It just wasn't intended, and I'm sure that the left never, ever, ever guessed that it would damage some of those people, those poor Democrat victims, which is what they are. It damaged them so much that no matter what they learn, no matter what comes out about the origins or the players or the lies, they still believe, man, in their bones. They believe every single bit of it. It's freaking amazing. You cannot make that up. But he's right. It was not meant to blow up into a giant thing. It was meant to explain to them, to each other, why they lost. It's a protection mechanism for them, for the Democrats, for the DNC, for the media. Because if it's all Russia's fault, then they never ever have to come to terms with the fact that they just ran a really, really bad, deplorable campaign, to borrow a phrase. They had the most unlikable candidate in the history of worldwide politics. I mean, encompassing the entire world. Hillary was the most unpopular person you could have possibly ever picked. And also for the media, if it's Russia's fault, they never ever have to face the fact that they gave Donald Trump probably about $1 billion worth of free advertising. A lesson, honestly, that they still have not learned. And a lot of people don't remember this. I showed it in the open. Donald Trump wasn't even Hillary's first attempt to claim that someone was a Russian plant or a Russian asset. Her dry run was Tulsi Gabbard, a serving member of the United States Armed Forces. And you know what? The mushy brains believed that one too. They still believe it. Some people still believe that. Truly, the power that horrible, horrible woman had and still has over a lot of those, poor people, they're victims of propaganda, is amazing. But Anyway, I thought you guys would enjoy that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. And we'll see you in the next one, guys. Until I see you in the next one, keep the faith.